Hi everybody, Masq here, and today I'm going to be talking about something that most artists are probably aware of by now, art fight. This is my second year in fight, although my first year as a content creator, so I'm not the most well versed about the fight, but I'd like to give some tips for those of you who have never participated in the event, or who just feel like they need a little push to get into it. But before we get into that, I'd just like to say I'm a small creator, and this is one of my first fully edited videos. I put a lot of effort into my streams and videos, so if you can leave a like and maybe even subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. So starting off, what is Art Fight? This will just be a quick recap for those of you who are uninformed, but Art Fight is a once-a-year event starting on July 1st and ending on August 3rd. During the event, artists come together in two different teams and make art for each other, which scores for points, and then the team with the most points wins. If you thought Art Fight was a full-out war or battle, though, I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's more like a friendly exchange of art pieces with a lot of sappy emotions. Still, it's really fun. You can attack other artists by creating art of their characters that they have posted on their profile. And the scoring is based on if the art is a full body, half body, bust, or head shape, if the background is detailed, basic, or abstract, and if the art is colored, sketched, lined, shaded, etc. Scoring sounds complicated, but the site has a very easy way to understand it. And when you post your art, you probably won't have a problem figuring it out. But in order to receive attacks, or what the site calls defenses, you have to have characters, which brings us to part 2, making refs or references. Generally, it's a really good idea to start your refs early. Please, for the love of God, don't fall into the "oh, but I have plenty off time" community. Despite how much time you may feel like you have to prepare, once July rolls up, if you don't have everything ready to go, you're gonna spend like half of the art fight panicking as you try to get your refs together. So please, start early like I am in this video. If you haven't noticed, in the background I'm drawing my main original characters, also known as OCs. And ideally by the time this video is up, it'll still be a few months out from Art Fight. References don't have to be complicated, but ideally they should be an easy to understand drawing of your character that shows the main parts of them. For humans, that's most likely going to be their face, skin color, hair color, eye color, and other features. Do they have a sharp, round, or square jawline? What shape are their eyes? All of these things can be important so that when other people draw your characters actually look like themselves. Remember, other artists don't know what you're thinking, only what you post. It's also really important to make a general color palette. I kind of forgot to do this until the middle of the speed paint, but just pretend I did it now. Color palettes are extremely important, as lighting can drastically change how your character's colors look, and color picking directly in that case won't be reliable for other artists. Try to make a list of your character's main colors, that way no one gets confused. I personally prefer to keep my characters' outfits generally ambiguous, just giving a general idea of their personalities. This is mostly because honestly I don't really like drawing clothes, but for you, your character's clothes may be an important part to their look, so a clothes reference sheet might be helpful too. A good example of a clothes reference sheet would include the front, back, and potentially even sides of a character's outfit to show the intricacies of the clothing and any colors or symbols. Again, this isn't necessary for everyone, and I actually enjoy seeing people pick unique outfits for my characters based on their personalities and general styles. So now you've got your references all done. Let's move on to our next part. Part 3, permissions and rules. Now, I know this sounds kind of boring, but trust me, it's important. Artfight doesn't have strict rules, but there still are rules. For any image posted on the site, there are a few filters you'll have to apply based off the contents of the image. First of all, the obvious filters: gore, body horror, artistic nudity, and suggestive themes. These are all relatively self-explanatory and shouldn't be difficult to figure out. Artfight does not allow straight-up NSFW content, but you can post things like pinups or lingerie, hence the category being called suggestive themes and not NSFW. Those themes are limited to people who are 18 plus as well, so unless you are over 18 and set the filters on your site settings to show that content, you won't see that stuff. And if you're acquainted with Artfight, you may have noticed I left out 2 categories, and that's because these categories aren't easily understandable for everyone, so I want to take some time to explain them myself. First of all, eye strain. I personally didn't know what this meant until I joined Artfight, but eye strain refers to extreme bright colors in drawings, bright colors in animation, chromatic aberration effects, optical illusions, and flashing and strobing effects. These things are important to take into account because users with epilepsy, depending on the severity, could potentially have seizures from some of these things, and filtering it is a good way to avoid the chances of that happening. The last category is general sensitive content. Obviously, the creators of ArtFight can't account for everything, so this category refers to general things that may need filtering. This includes, but is not limited to, drug use, suicide-related topics, common phobias like trypophobia or emetophobia, and mentions of abuse. That sentence alone is going to get this video taken down, I swear. Generally, if you don't know if you should filter something or not, take a look at the guidebook. ArtFight has a lot of great explanations that are very easy to understand, so I'll link that in the description. Now here's the last general thing you need to know about ArtFight. That leads us to part 4, permissions. Character permissions are extremely important, and everyone's are going to be different. Generally, when you start out, you'll want to have your global permissions set up. Global permissions are general guidelines that apply specifically to your character, meaning anyone who attacks you will have to abide by these rules for all of your characters. Generally, these permissions won't need to cover anything that's listed against the rules, and if you're under 18, I don't think someone can attack you with suggestive art, but it can't hurt to add that if you're really uncomfortable with that. My permissions are my do's and don'ts. For example, I don't allow gender bending or race changes, but I do allow gore and non-sexual lingerie. This means if someone were to violate my permissions in an attack, I'd be allowed to report their art and have it taken down or adjusted ideally. There are no stupid permissions, so don't feel scared to state if you're uncomfortable with something, even if it may seem trivial to others. You're also able to set individual permissions for specific characters. So for example, I can make it so one character isn't allowed to be drawn a particular way, but my other characters can be. This will show up on the specific character's page, and you can change their individual permissions through the character management tab. And that's about it. If you watched this video all the way through, I want to give you a massive thank you. I'm so happy to be able to pursue art as a career through YouTube, and I hope you'll come back in the future to see what I have coming up next. Have fun preparing for ArtFight, and remember, stay hydrated while you work. Until next time, it's time to take the mask off.